Hello, it's Jeremy Williams again. Just a little 5-minute video, probably less than that, on how to get some control in your life. Hopefully the title is fairly descriptive. Take a deep breath, sit back, relax, and let the next couple of minutes just drift by. And the last video I was doing was talking about habits and how to control them and such like, and a little bit about how our habits are influenced to control us. So I just thought I'd talk for a minute about a very underrated habit, in my view, and that's the ability to put our attention on one thing to the exclusion of all else for a certain amount of time, as long as our concentration lasts and while we have the energy, and doing this by giving ourselves permission to ignore distractions, anything that's coming in from it. You just don't need to do that. I'm going to focus on this anyway. I'm just going to prioritize it. The first point I'd like to make is there's been loads of studies. You don't have to just take my word for it. You can Google it. That multitasking is a myth. It doesn't exist. We don't do it. Apparently, women can do whatever it is. That multitasking is more than men, but none of us can multitask. We're just not effective. It's just awful when we're multitasking and trying to do more than one thing at once. You can't really. There's many studies doing that, trying to do more than one thing at once. If destiny is habit and our habits are our destiny, then maybe it's just suggesting to stop for a moment, start thinking about where are your habits being controlled or influenced by other people. Yes, I'm thinking the obvious things. Do you have something on your phone that goes ping every 30 seconds? Is there something on your computer that goes ping every 30 seconds? Do you not even bother checking your texts or emails anymore? They check you. It's sort of just plugged in. It just comes straight up. I'm thinking about short-term dopamine feedback loops, proven to be highly addictive. I've just stuck a photograph on Instagram. Have I got any likes? Yes. Way. No, I haven't. Nobody's even looked at it. Boo-hoo, sob. This it's very addictive. Be honest, do you do it? And how often do you do it? And how much control does that sort of thing have in your life? I think in order to enjoy anything, we really just need to get lost in it. We need to get into the flow where all of our parts of ourselves and our entire consciousness and attention goes on to the one thing. We get lost in it, we do it. We're not thinking about anything else, not subconscious, and we wake up when we've finished or a while later when we've need a rest. Oh, and the time has just gone by. That's how you get things done productively and effectively and imaginatively, and you come up with new ways of doing it. That's how everybody does it. So what do I think are really good habits that certainly I've done in my life? Honestly, I have done them, I've tried them. If you want to do something, in your day, you want to get something done, you actually have a goal, you want a result out of it. What I do is every morning is I get up and I drink a pint of water, because I think many people just don't realise they're dehydrated when they wake up. They have a cup of coffee, and that makes it even worse. Might sort of load of drugs and they get a little boost, but they're dehydrated. Go for a walk or for a bit of a jog, even if it's for just 10 minutes. Say meditate, just sit quietly, just let your thoughts just drift by. Do a bit of Pilates, do a bit of yoga, whatever juices you. Then just start doing one thing in the morning and then keep doing it. And if you forget, then get your pint of water and put it somewhere really obvious. Or put your dog lead somewhere obvious where you fall over it. Or 5 minutes walking the dog, or put your Pilates ball until you get into the habit, say a month or so, and then you can maybe think about adding another habit to it. I'd also find something that juices you, something that energizes you, so you can at least start the day right. And don't even think about checking your emails, your messages, or doing anything else that's likely to completely distract you before you do things that you enjoy in the morning that are going to make you feel better. Don't turn a telly on if you know there's going to be adverts for your Cocoa Pops and you're not going to eat your porridge then. Have a healthy breakfast. that sort of thing. Then I would suggest if there's something you need to do, put aside an hour to do it. Even get a little clock, then you don't have to press it, and then you don't have to think about what am I going to be doing. Oh, have I got to go to the shops now? Have I run out of time? Because it'll go off and tell you. Do an hour on something, have a 5-10 minute break, get up, walk about, breathe, have a stretch, get back and do another hour. And I bet in that 2 hours, you'd have done more, been more productive than would have been in your entire day usually. It's quite effective. If we do another block of 2 hours, you can be surprised. Allow yourself to get into some flow, how much you'll do, especially if you ignore all of your distractions. I was also going to mention, flow doesn't come instantly. If I've got a job to do, I'm aware that there's going to take 15-20 minutes of like the on-ramp to get on to doing it. It'll take me a little while just to start doing it. Then I'm aware that if I get interrupted or disturbed or there's something happens and I stop doing it, even for a couple of seconds or a minute, it's going to take me another quarter of an hour, 20 minutes to recover from the interruption. And if I'm doing one thing for an hour, I'm also increasingly aware there's lots of evidence of what you call attention drag. That if I'm doing one thing and when I move on to a new thing, half my brain is basically still thinking about the last thing, if whether aware of it a lot or not, for quite a long time. You're getting the idea we're just not really cut out to actually get things done and the jumping around business. It's a bit of a focus, putting our attention where we put our attention. It really is one of the most powerful things we have. It's bringing all of ourselves to actually doing something. I think it's also an enormous part generally of getting what we want in life. We want a great job. We want where else is that? Oh, my lighting's going. Good career. It's not allowing yourself to be distracted. You have all the permission in the world to ignore things that are just slowing you down and trying to get you to do something else rather than you want what you want. If you have to multitask, if you have to answer the phone, you have to message, you have to look at check your texts and all of these other things, and schedule an hour, a block of time. And then if somebody wants to ring you or message you, just train them. Just say, well, I'm available in this time, and no, you can't ring me up or message me and get an immediate response 24 hours a day at 3 a.m. and any time you want. Actually, you're going to have to wait because I'm actually doing something more important. Even if you don't think it's important to me, and that's all that matters. I just get on and do with it. You have all the permission in the world to ignore distractions. All of this is about going back to the same sort of topic. There's nobody's ringing you up. Nobody's ringing you up wherever you are and saying, hey, you're not following your dreams. Hey, you're not meeting and talking to those people and networking with those people that you need to do if you're going to find a better job or get promoted. They're not going to ring you up and say, hey, you're not eating healthily. If you carry on like that, you're not going to be attractive to your ideal partner or whatever. Maybe that's not a very good example, but you get me drift. What is urgent is rarely important. What is actually important is rarely urgent. It's just something we just need to focus on and get on with at some point, and find some way of starting ourselves just doing it and just getting into the flow of doing it. And yes, of course, back to the bleeding obvious, we've never been more distracted. There's people out there spending billions and earning billions, making sure we're constantly distracted. Everybody else is constantly distracted as well. They're getting triggered, disturbed. They're being interrupted all of the time, and then they definitely are in your life, and then just bringing it all on you. Here's a load of destruction. I think I meant distraction, Freudian slip there. There's been study after study after study where people have been put in a test. They've been subject to constant interruptions and distractions, and they've had their memory, their short-term memory, their IQ, their concentration span, and everything else. Just think interruptions and distractions for the brain is like plaque for the teeth. I know it can sometimes feel good, and we can even get addicted to it. There's some powerful chemicals get released in us when there's short-term interruptions, and that's, I suppose, another topic. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean. I sometimes think a bit like modern culture is the analogy for me would be that we all think lemmings are thick because we all follow each other when they're on the migration and follow each other off the edge of a cliff. Well, these days in our sophisticated society seem to follow each other to the edge of a cliff and then just throw our brains off. It's really bad if you want to do anything in your life. You just need to put up some boundaries. Give yourself permission to put up some boundaries. Hope some of that was useful. What ways are you being disturbed? In what ways are you building up new habits? Have you just bought up a new Netflix account? Has somebody in your house just done that? And you're suddenly finding yourself sort of 5 or 6 hours in the evenings just disappearing by, and they're just going off down to a supermarket. And you've just bought a new phone. In what way are you being controlled? Are you having your habits controlled? Because I bet you are having lots of new habits. What are they? Who put them there? And what habits are you introducing? Hopefully I've given you some useful ones. If you disagree with any of them, tell me. And if you think there's some really good ones are missing, there's some easy ways to install them, tell me about that as well. Always like a bit of feedback. If anybody fancies just talking to me about anything, having some advice, or just message me on the Facebook Messenger or do a video call or something like that. Right, it's Friday, so I'll see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Don't get too rat-arsed. Bye for now.